countdowns to make sure we get all the notifications here first. All right. Peace to the family. This is Brandon B. Dixon in it here again. We on another episode of We're Talking Real Estate. Pardon that we're a little bit late, but had a little bit of technical difficulties.
Yeah.
I got my sidekick here, Humble Flex. He's my my new permanent co-host, man. I got CJ, the realtor in the building, and I got Fung from Financial Suit here. And we're gonna introduce ourselves real quick, and then we're gonna go ahead and get going. So, CJ, I yield the floor to you, and you can go ahead and get kicked off.
All right. What's going on, everybody? CJ, the realtor with Greenwood Realty Group down here in Houston, Texas. Give me a follow on social media at CJ Sales Texas. That is CJSELLSTX. Let's connect on there and do some collaborations with you, especially if you're a business owner locally. The website, GreenwoodRealtyTX.com. If you want information as a buyer, seller, or if you're a realtor looking for a team to join, we have all the information for you on the website. So go check that out. Doing not just our home tours, Lux Edition, but we're doing local business owner interviews and other highlights. So check out the YouTube channel, CJ the Realtor. Give me a subscribe, a like, a share. Let me know what you think. If you got some info that you want me to drop on there that you haven't seen yet, let me know. I'm doing it for the people. So go on there and check that out. And then, of course, we are always looking to give back. So our mentorship program, the Mansa Academy, themansaacademy.org is the website where we're teaching our young men knowledge of self-improvement and entrepreneurship. So if you want more information or if you want to donate, go to themansaacademy.org.
Gotcha. Barry, you right on time. I got you queued up. You actually next in line.
All right.
On time. Actually, I got you right here.
Okay.
Man.
All right. How's everybody doing? Barry Bolston, real estate agent here in Houston and surrounding areas. If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest, oh man, look at that light. I got to give me a better light. I'm on all social media platforms, well, most social media platforms. You can Google me at Homes by Barry B. Instagram, my website, Facebook, YouTube. You can give me a call at 832-786-1270 or text me if you have a question. Let's talk about achieving your goals.
Gotcha. Fung, I'll go ahead and you don't have your banners up. I should have got your banners up while we were talking earlier, but I'll go ahead and get you going here. Hold on a second. Actually, Fung, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
For sure.
Yeah,
thank you for having me. Exactly. I mean, this is one of my first, and I think I've been watching a few episodes, and honest to be here. My name is Fong Chong with Financial Suits. I have a little local brand here in the Cypress, Houston area, but we license in a couple of different states: Louisiana, Florida, Washington, and Arkansas. So if you guys need any help with the mortgage, me and my partner Brandon B will be honored to help you laying out the mortgage plan and get you that home, all that real estate investment you're looking for.
Gotcha. Shuhaman, you right on time too. Before I introduce myself, I told him y'all pop on at 8:00, and I was telling Fung the same thing.
Yeah.
Cool. Hyman, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I got you propped up.
Hyman with H&L Premier Realty If you have any real estate questions via investment, buying or selling a lease, feel free to reach out to me, 832-235-0985.
Gotcha. All right, let me whip through mine real quick so we can go ahead and get started. I know we're a few minutes late, guys, but I appreciate y'all bearing with us. Also, I want to let y'all know to please like, subscribe. I know y'all been watching us on replay. Please tell a friend to tell a friend. Keep on spreading the word. I know we're one of the only podcasts that's organic. We don't spend any behind the scenes money. We all organic. Our audience is organic. It's all from you guys. So please like, subscribe, and share with your friends. So my name is Brandon B. Dixon. My NMLS is 1541210. It's at Billionaire Loan Officer on all social media, especially YouTube. Please like, subscribe. Again, like I said, we got a couple of different shows. I got the Power of Ownership podcast. We're Talking Real Estate podcast here on Tuesdays. Also, we got House Tours Lux with myself and CJ, where we tour some of the best houses in Houston. Also, I got my Behind the Sauce show as well, where I kind of show my entrepreneurial endeavors, like, myself and Humble Flex here, my new co-host, stud I just imported from Florida, who's Grinch mine. So he's going to be taking over the Frenchie game here shortly. So I'll show you all that stuff. All my businesses are Behind the Sauce. So subscribe to my YouTube channel. Go to my website, www.applywithb, if you're ready to book me for a consultation or if you're ready to apply for a mortgage. That's where you can find me. Last but not least, you can contact me, 832-775-8357. You can call me 24/7 as long as it's about business. Oh, I forgot one other thing. Don't forget, cocinvestmentclub.com if you want to join us for investments. We're real estate investors, business investors, so ready to get that going. cocinvestmentclub.com. So, gentlemen, I appreciate y'all joining me tonight. Let's kick off this show, man. I wanted to talk heavily about what's going on, what's all the buzz about. I'm scrolling down the timelines. That's all I see is the National Association of Realtors settlement. Everybody, is freaking out, and they're talking about July, and they're gonna make changes and stuff like that. We're gonna have an open discussion, but let's go ahead and start it off. I want to start off with a couple of clips that's kind of funny here. So let's go ahead and start off with those, and I'll let y'all react to them one by one. So let's start off with a couple of clips, and then we're gonna go ahead and get into the discussion. Want to break the ice a little bit, So let's go ahead and get in with my boy, man, Ming.
It's not going to be real estate agents. It's going to be buyers, especially VA buyers. Hear me out. So this law prohibits selling agents from putting buyer's agent commission on the MLS. Now it's up to the buyer's agent to fend for themselves. They're going to have to convince the seller to pay the commission, or they're going to have to call their buyer and ask them to pay for the commission. And they got to make a list of everything they're doing to get that commission. And with rates pulling back at the end of this year or next year, it's going to stay a seller's market. Do you think a seller's going to want to pay buyer agent's commission? No, they're going to want top dollar so they can keep the profits for themselves. So now the buyer agent has to squeeze the buyer for that commission. So of course the commissions are probably going to come down, but now the buyer has to come out of pocket with down payment, closing costs, and pay the buyer's commission. That's why buyers are going to get hit really hard. Let's talk about veteran buyers. See this above? Veterans are prohibited to pay commissions for real estate agents. In the past, it was rolled into the purchase price. Now, if a seller refuses to pay and the veterans can't pay, how are they going to buy the house then? The Department of Justice or the lawmakers should have thought twice, because now it's going to affect veterans really badly, because now they're stuck in limbo and they can't buy if sellers refuse to pay. All we can do is cross our fingers and wait to see what happens next. But for those who can't wait, here is the nationwide average mortgage interest rates. Remember, these rates are just the ballpark. Give your lender a call so you can get an accurate quote. Please comment below your thoughts.
All right, so I'm gonna open the panel up. What do y'all think? That's my boy. What's the mortgage, man? Is he full of it?
Yeah.
I think it's too. I think it's too much skies falling from all these people.
That's cap, bro.
Yeah, it is cap. I mean, my goodness.
I think it's easy to make things such a big deal right now to capture view. It's always about the viewership. Hey, watch me. Let me tell you something controversial. Let me tell you something that scare you. and so that way I get a lot of view. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think now I like the guy. I mean, sometimes he have really good information, but at the same time, I'm not saying he's saying something that's wrong or that's right. But right now, like we all know, nothing will be decided until July, right?
But that's the thing, you know, he's wrong, because all the ruling is that they are taking it off of the MLS. It's not saying that sellers aren't paying, or the listing brokerage isn't paying the buying brokerage.
Right.
It's just saying that the commission won't be displayed on an MLS.
Yeah.
I agree.
Too much sky is falling. People here knew and the sky is falling. It's the world is on. Come on, man.
You think about the seller not wanting to pay our listing brokerage, not wanting to pay a buying brokerage, and forcing a buyer to pay their realtor. You know that house is gonna sit on the MLS forever.
Yeah.
So it's in a seller and a listing brokerage's best interest to cooperate with a buyer broker.
Yeah, he's making it sound like, they're not gonna pay it here. The listing agent is just, it's gonna be a seller's market, and no seller's gonna wanna. No,
they just make you do more work now. You just got to pick up the phone to find out how much you're getting paid.
Yeah, instead of it being on. Now, what it will do is stop the steering. It'll stop the steering from. It'll slow down some of the steering from agents, because that's one of the first things they go down to look at when they go to MLS to see what the commission is. Well, so now it's not going to be there, so now you got to make that phone call.
Yep. But now, the realtor's got to pick up the phone.
Yeah.
Right.
So
you want to chime in a little bit before I go in? Yeah. Sorry, CJ, you were finished?
No, I'm just saying, like right now, it's challenging to get some realtor to pick up the phone. So you're a listing agent and you got a house on the market that you were trying to sell for your client. And you got a nice property. It's going to be a lot of phone calls coming in, and now you either got to.
Yeah, you just can't sit back.
Have a system or something.
You just can't sit back.
Right, you better get an assistant and forward them calls to your assistant or something. But you got to answer that phone.
Right. Well, so it's taking the some of the corner cutting out of the current climate. Is what y'all saying. Hyman, you want to chime in before I give my 2 cents?
Go ahead, B.
Or 10 cents?
Go ahead.
What I wanted to give you so I could go ahead and switch the clip for the next clip.
Oh, you want to switch the clip? All right. So
buy some time, huh? Come on, bro.
Is that what he doing? Man,
call him out, Debo.
Goodness gracious, though.
Gotcha.
As far as the not being sold on MLS, that's true. Now they got to call to find out. But sometimes you get to try and see if actually a seller really wants to pay that commission and see what you do next. It's gonna be. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's gonna be a lot more difficult for us as agents because also in the ruling, you have to have your buyer's rep agreement signed with the notification that what your fee is.
Yep.
We can't glance.
You should have been doing it already, though.
But you know what? I think that's in other states, because in Texas we already had that.
No, but you got to fill it in.
It wasn't enforced, though. It wasn't enforced.
Yeah.
Number one, you got to fill it in, and you have to say it, right? Because if you make that call, we ain't paying a buyer's agent commission. Would you like the house? Tell me about when you want to put in an offer. What you gonna do then?
Right.
So you're gonna start when you call me. All right, how much you gonna pay in commission? No, I ain't paying but $2,000. What you want to do? Now what? Come on with it. Come on with it. What you gonna do?
Yeah.
Now, if you do it right, I tell you $2,000, but on your rep agreement says $3,000. That doesn't mean you're not gonna get $2,000 from the seller. You might get if they agree to pay you 3% of whatever the sales price is. I think we all can do quick math. What that looks like? It looks like more money than 3%.
Right. Well,
that makes it more competitive, though.
I think y'all hit it, on the head as well. I think it's gonna shift out all the lazy realtors, all the ones that think this is easy money. So now it's gonna be a more active thing. You have to, like you said, pick up the phone call, pick up the call, and start calling agents. You're gonna Have to get more skilled. You're gonna have to develop relationship skills. You have to develop phone etiquette. You're gonna have to develop prospecting skills. A lot of stuff that when you just get the license and you can run into deals a year, that's gonna be gone. So they'll push all those part-timers out of the business because they're not gonna be able to live because they're not putting any effort into this. So I think it's a good thing. I think the sky is falling thing is a little bit much. But I think as Hyman said, just to piggyback what Hyman said, yeah, you can have somebody with 2,000, but that still doesn't mean I can't put in an offer. All right, my offer is the 2,000 plus 3%. And we're gonna come at this much. Now it's up to that seller to turn me down.
Yeah.
But I think it's overkill though, because you can still put what the fee is going to be offered to the cooperating broker online. I don't see how that hurts anything, but just reading through some of the documentation, it's like to just stop everything to get it settled, because they're like NAR isn't claiming any wrongdoing, but they put this in place just to shut it down now so it doesn't prolong and go any further. So this is what they had to do to shut it now, because they were saying that any agent or brokerage that made less than $2 billion in 2022 is covered under this. So anybody above that is still at risk of being sued. So they put this in place to protect the members.
Right.
But yeah, I think it's overkill not putting it on. I think the correct way was to enforce and make people do a buyer rep agreement. But I don't see why you can't put the
fully
cooperating
completed.
broker.
You just can't say do it by rep. Say fully filled out completely.
I mean, yeah. Like,
hey.
You can't halfway do a document, bro. It got to be.
Hey. You can't put NA in the empty blank. You can't put NA what your compensation is if the seller doesn't pay you. You can't put NA right there.
But, I heard there are some brokerages that even though you're 1099 and self-employed, they still required a certain number on that listing agreement. So you couldn't, if you wanted to negotiate more or less, it had to be approved before you could even proceed.
Yeah, there are some brokers that did that. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's part of what's got everything in a sticky situation, because that's a blank line. You're supposed to put what's between you and your client.
You know what? The first one I was at, they did. I'm sorry. The first, the first one that I was at, yeah, you had to get approval to get it. Like if you wanted to lower it, you had to get approval in order to lower it. But I don't have to now. But I always thought that was interesting.
Yeah, I mean it's a blank line all through that document. So
yeah,
all that stuff is negotiable.
Right.
And here that could have been what the issue was, dog. If they pull a document and say, well, my broker told me I had to put 6% no matter what. Now, if brokers are telling their agents that, yeah, they're open for suit for that, because all that stuff is negotiable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Solid point, Barry B. Solid point. You know what I mean?
Right. Let's get into one more clip before we open the discussion. I just want to bring some humor to the game real quick before we get started. I thought this was a funny meme. Let's go ahead and check this one out.
And you were only going to pay me 30? You're getting 30 grand? I'm getting 1,000.
You guys are getting paid?
You are making $500,000 and you were only going to pay me 30? You're getting 30 grand? I'm getting 1,000.
You guys are getting paid? Explain.
You are making.
So another size falling meme, but a lot of people are looking at it like this right now. So I'm kind of glad. I mean, I want some of these buyers agents that want the bottom feeders. I want them to get out of the game. I want some of the bottom feeders out of here, because it just, from a distance, a lot of people can't tell the difference between professionals and part-timers and the bottom feeders, because I think the bottom feeders are going to do this. They're going to drive the price down. They're going to automatically default because they have no skill. They're going to automatically default. I'll do it for 1%, or I'll just do it for a flat fee. So I think they automatically going to default to the least amount of resistance, and they're gonna drive the price down.
I mean, but once these clients find out they're getting burned because these people don't know what they're doing, then they're gonna come back around, because it's up to us to show our value.
Right.
It's almost 200 different things that a agent has to do to make sure your client gets to the closing table.
Right.
It's 200.
It's like 189, I think, something like that.
I'll be trying to think about what is it though. I've done it so long, you just can't keep counting all of them.
Yeah,
so
this
you don't
is why
educate your client on what you offer because they think you just showing the house and that's it. That's the easy part.
They think that's all you doing.
Yep.
Right. Well, that's why I invited Fung on the panel, because he knows that what's going to happen is that a lot of people are deterred from getting buyer's agents. They're going to start leaning on the loan officers, and they're going to start asking us a lot of these questions. Well, who should I do? How should I do this? How should I do that? And how much should I come in at? So they're going to start leaning on us.
Right.
Can't
run up.
Right. We can't run comps. So I can run comps as a dual agent. We're going to get, Fung and I are going to get into that. Both of us are dual agents, but I think, and I want to open this up to later on in the discussion, where I think we're the future, because where we're hybrids to where you can have all in one shop, so I think we're the future, but I won't get into that later. But regular loan officers, I think, is going to be dangerous, because you walk in that fine line. If they're going to try to, they're going to want professional help, but they some of them can't pay for it.
And that's we always run into a situation where people don't know where their land is, right? And then all of a sudden now we sudden individuals try to prove that they are the professional and start saying things that they're not supposed to say and cross over a certain lane, and that's become very toxic or dangerous to the consumers. Well, I mean, I know somewhat, but I can't say, oh, you should offer this and you should offer that, or here's a strategy you should coming in. I mean, but that's what might happen. Like Brandon mentions, is when people start asking loan officers those kind of buying agent questions supposed to answer, some of them don't know where the limits is, and that's when open up a can of worms with all these advice that's not supposed to be given out.
Right. Cross start blurred, the lines start blurring. So I think the best thing is to become a Arlo or Relo, whatever they go to call real estate. Get both licenses. That way you can be flexible on both. So, and that way I think that'll get you more clients, because, like I said, a lot of people are. This depends on your clientele. Some of them can't afford. Let's say let's go down this wormhole. As far as you got something that's 2% flat, and they can't afford that extra percent, and we negotiated, and they can't afford it. So what do you do then?
Right.
I got a solution for you. Here's what you do.
What was that?
You go to the listing agent, because the listing agent still has a fiduciary responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And who's to say? Well, I've done it many times, no offense, but I've represented both sides of a transaction. Right? Just keep it simple. This is the amount. This is what they want to offer. No, they don't want to do this. That's what they want to do. They still get representation. They still get the house. Intermediary is going to be very popular for those who understand how to do it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I mean,
you definitely have to go back to that listing agent and say, And then one thing that I did see is that something that we might start seeing under seller concessions. That seller concessions is what they're going to be using it for.
That is very true. Very true. Well, give me $7,000 on concession. All right.
Yeah.
But the $7,000 goes to pays the buyer's agent.
This is one thing that they added to, is that they're taking the commission out of the MLS, but they're allowing the seller to list if they're doing a buyer concession on it.
Yeah. I think on the contract, there's a section where they put how much they can pay for the buying agent. So that doesn't really have to go into the seller concession and eat up that, closing cost assisted to the buyers. So I think.
Yeah, on that last page. Yeah.
Yeah. That will probably solve, because like CJ and every guy we mentioned, it just, they don't want to put on MLS. So that
it's not going to be on the MLS.
It's not a default kind of assuming percentage anymore. But there's many other plays that they can put the amount or the percentage on there before going to contract. So I think it's a matter of maybe eventually we all come up with one central place beside the MLS to have that. Hey, when you make an offer, make sure you put your commission right there. Request commissions.
Correctamundo.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that's
But see,
And
as
that's
an
what-
agent, as an agent, they don't understand how to do that. So they have to go back to the drawing table. So, okay, from now on, your commission has to be negotiated with this deal.
yeah.
That's all. And if you can't do that, or you're not comfortable doing that, okay, you got to go learn how to do that. And some brokerages don't really teach that.
Exactly.
Well, and also
not
with
just
the,
that,
as
you
a,
got to think about too. You got to think about too. All right, the cooperating brokerage percentage or whatever the listing brokerage want to pay the cooperating broker, it's not listed. So once you determine that, are you going to show that house before you get an ABB, the agreement between brokers?
It's up to you.
yeah,
It's up to you,
I
man.
mean, you could be wasting your time. So
True.
you got a lot more leg work on the front end to make sure that you're
True.
protecting.
That brings that ABB back into play. Huh? It used to be just for leases. Now that comes back.
Right.
Everybody
Just
has
for
to
leasing.
agree. Yeah.
So for the people that are watching that aren't realtors, there's a document called Agreement Between Brokers that shows, all right, this is the listing brokerage, this is what they're paying the cooperating broker. And we use it on leases most of the time. We never really used it on purchasing because it was in the MLS.
Right.
But in order to make sure you get paid, you're going to have that document signed by the listing brokerage and your broker. And I recommend doing it before showing the house. But so now you got to get a pre-approval in place, like which you already should have been doing.
Anyway.
By our rep and ABB
And
before you open the
for
door.
every house that you want to show.
That's a lot of work, dog.
Well, it's a lot of it's digital now.
I mean,
So
it's
it's not like
digital.
You still got to
It's
sign it
digital,
though.
but first got to get the realtor on the phone.
Right.
Find out once they finally either call you back or text you back, you find out how much that whatever they're paying. Then you need to get that documented and signed off by both sides.
Yeah. And for
And
the
then
big
you talk
boys like
about-
KW, that's gonna be hell because you know how they are as far as the
Right.
process of getting documents signed by the broker.
Right.
I wish you the best.
You got to get the broker to sign it.
Right. Now that's gonna be, you know what I'm saying? That's gonna be a monster right there. But
Yeah.
you know, but,
so
let's go ahead and get-
the days of showing a home that just came on MLS are over.
Over with, dog. You might not get your first showing until 5 days, 5 or 6 days.
Been on MLS one day, you showing it? No, them days over, huh?
Yeah. And that's the thing, because when you're out here and you're working with buyers, you didn't have rep agreements, you technically work for the seller.
Right.
So if in the event you work with a buyer, you show them a house, they go to another agent and that agent puts that an offer on that house that you showed them, but their name's on there and you don't have a rep agreement. How you going to prove the procuring costs? Like, that's what the determining factor is.
Well,
You
no,
gotta
you still show procuring cause without a rep agreement.
It's a
Because
thing.
if you
It's
show
a
that house,
gray area, bro.
But if you
Try to-
show
try
that
to-
house, they got a record of you showing that house.
That don't mean nothing.
But that's procuring
You work for
cause,
the
so that's a
seller.
little different.
You work for the seller.
Oh,
If you don't have a rep agreement.
Right.
And at that
Let's-
point,
let's-
if I want to pay you $100, better be able to pay you $100.
Right. I throw you 50 for opening the door for it.
and guess what?
Right. Let's start it off like this. So we kind of warmed up. We're in the halfway point of the show. We take an intermission. Guys, we're gonna read your questions live as long as they're intelligible. So go ahead and get your questions in, and make sure your questions are intelligible. If they're not intelligible, we're not gonna read it live on there. So get your questions in. Any comments that you want us to read on air, go ahead and hit us up right now. Also, like and subscribe. If you got any friends that might be interested in real estate or just in the real estate business that need to hear this conversation, man, go ahead and share this video. So we're gonna go ahead and get our discussion portion up right now. I got 3 questions, for you guys, the panel, and we're gonna go ahead in a round robin fashion and go ahead and answer this. And Let's start it off with a broad question. What's your individual? Don't hold anything back. I don't want no political answers.
Yeah, right.
What's your outlook about the NRA? I mean, the NAR. I keep saying NRA. I got guns on my mind.
You're already bringing violence, huh?
Right. So, what's your overall outlook on the NAR settlement? Don't hold any punches back. So what's your outlook on it? You think it's BS? You think it's gonna help? What do you think? And go ahead and we're gonna go ahead and start on CJ, then Fung, then Barry, then Hyman, and myself. We're gonna do it.
I don't think it was thought out well enough. I think they just did something right now to stop everything from continuing on. It's probably recommendation from their legal team, but I don't think I don't think they thought it through, because things like we're talking about, that's going to add so much more time into even just showing a house. Instead of being more efficient with the time, it's going to be more of a time, I won't say waster, but it's going to take a lot more time to get things done. And it really doesn't change much. Like I was saying, get the rubber agreement signed, filled out completely, and signed, and that eliminates a good deal of what we're talking about. So all this extra stuff is just making it a lot more, or just giving a lot more work on the buyer's agent side. I mean, listen, agents, they need to communicate. Say what?
Agent side. Say agents. Don't split us up.
I mean, it's not much different. It ain't much different on the listing agent side, except for you got to pick up the phone.
Right. So basically, get the lazy agents are gonna have to step the game up. No more homeboy hookup and no more. But that's all they had anyway. They had this spirit influence, and they didn't sign the rep agreement because they're scared. And so you got cut. That's your cousin, so you didn't sign a rep agreement anyway, and you go and show them houses, and they cross your fingers, hope they could get approved. But that'll cut a lot of that out. What's clogging the market anyway? In my opinion. Yeah. So so Fung, I'll open it up to you.
Before you move it on the phone, I got one more thing. Mm-hmm. So, and I want to pose a question. We can answer it later, but when we're talking about fair housing laws, and how do we ensure that listed agent is telling every agent the same number?
Right.
You can't. It's just the same. Once again, if we can't hold our own self to our rules and regulations, we can't. Right? So it's just us as individuals.
So this opens the door.
Let's say publish it first,
violation.
Right. They can tell somebody, man, it's 8%, man. Shoot, on my side.
Right. Hey, I tell Hyman now we paying 1%. Then I tell Barry we're paying 1.5%. Like, y'all don't know the difference. Y'all not talking.
I mean, that's kind of a wormhole right there, because they could do that right now as far as this deal.
No, the deal right now, so they can't.
As far as deals, yeah, you can say now my agents, you got to present it with the deal, but that agent that listening still can swear. I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't take this deal, because they don't like the sound of my voice or whatever.
Oh yeah, that I mean, that's different. But as far as the numbers between the agent, right. it's online right now. It's on paper.
Right.
Now it's about to be a phone call until you get that ABB.
Right. Fung, what say you?
I mean, I think there's gonna be a lot of change when it comes to this settlement, whether they go through it or not go through it. Right? It had been brought up to the attention, and seemed like most likely a lot of real estate broker that I talked to already kind of preparing for the decision to go through with the removing from the MLS, which, as many of you guys already talked about, it's kind of bringing a good news where it put pressure on doing your job as a buying agent. Get your agreement side up, discussing that with the client, make sure they be aware of that. And also, I mean, you want to get paid big bucks, you got to do you gotta go
Yeah, big boy stuff. Yeah,
negotiate and go out there
right,
and do, fight with the listing agent, whichever you have to
right,
do, right?
exactly.
So I think that
Professionally,
in a way, from my opinion, it will filter out the lazy one. Because right now, I know all of you at least once a year, or maybe once a month, have deal with someone that try to undercut you. Hey, this guy tell me that he's gonna give me back 1%. Can you match that? That kind of thing, and
right,
sometimes if it worked out, if it's a right, if you have with your family, your friends, hey, cut out is fine, right? But it has to be in a perspective of a fair game, or you do your job. If you want to charge less, that's on you. But don't undercut other people just to kind of take the lead out from people. And with the buying agreement now, you even have more reason to talk about upfront instead of waiting to show many houses and then they disappear on you because their real estate their realtor were out of town and things like that. So in a way, I think it will cut out some work. But of course, the one of the problem bring up is, okay, how do we keep track of which commissions percentage that the listing agent tell
right.
home, right? So it bring back to, if not MLS, where else that number will go? You can't just wait until making an offer to have that percentage. So yes, that's a slippery slope right there. And I mean, that's a very good point, CJ. I appreciate you bring that up. And
Yeah, I got a theory too. I'll talk about it later.
Well, let's go through before we,
but
I think
but then
Barry-
with as a loan officer here, we always want to make sure that our trusted partners are well protected, and also we'll come up with a different way and strategy to make sure the buyers know who to work with and understand the important have a representative, because doesn't matter which loan program you go through. Once you want to make an offer now or go check out making some kind of negotiation, buyer is not an expert in negotiations. Maybe some that
they're gonna get railroaded.
right. And we, a loan officer, we not equipped enough to negotiate on the behalf of the pricings and running all that stuff. So buying agents still need it. And I mean, that some listing or someone out there, some seller out there still try to undercut and trick the buyer into a very shitty situation, right? When they go into contract.
Right.
So someone need to be protecting these buyers.
Right. Barry, what you got? What you got?
Okay.
The real. Tell us the real, man. Tell us the real.
And what I mean, number one, what are settlements? Settlements are to stop the bleeding, and I think that was the main thing. Because was it how many months ago was it when they when they got the ruled against them? And, that was all over the news.
That was less than 6 months ago.
It was about 6 months ago. So now what happens when people make settlements? It goes away. So so the public won't get all this, because if you look at it, the people that's talking about this mostly are the realtors. I wonder if people in the public actually know really what's going on with this.
Well, it's going to affect them anyway, because, like I said,
I mean, I'm not saying it's not going to affect them. Yeah, I'm just saying they don't even know about this.
Right. They're going to know, because eventually, you ain't got this money. You got to pay my fee. So.
And as far as NAR, I think I said last week that I'd read that it was some agents trying to come up with their own realtor organization. So and that's probably one thing too, that because I've seen a lot of people say NAR, why we paying these dues? So I think they trying to save themselves too, because they might go away soon. If you take it, because if you start taking this stuff off the MLS and put it on Zillow, there's no need for NAR anymore. Or Realtor.com, if there's one quote unquote mass MLS that everybody can see.
Right.
Now what I did see that as far as the buyers, those FHAs and low income buyers is going, that's going to hurt them the most.
Right.
And so you're going to have to get creative on how you do this. Like you say, you're going to have to you know, and you don't know if the listing agent is telling you the truth or not. Well, not the truth, but if he's telling you one thing and somebody else something else.
Right.
And then he made a good point too about the VA loan.
Right.
What's
We're
going to
gonna talk
happen
about VA in a
then
second, yeah.
with those VA loans?
Right. We'll talk
Uh,
about VA in a second.
so I think it was they're trying to stop the bleeding and trying to get this out of the public eye right quick. And so it's going to be interesting to see if Trek starts come up with some new documents and how soon it's going. Because it's ruling it was if it gets approved, it's going to be in July. We might see new documents in July.
Oh yeah.
I'm pretty sure Trek has their lawyers already working on new documents.
Right. Hyman, what you got?
I agree, man. They're just trying. Of course, you gotta stop the bleeding, like B says. Also, it's also kind of to protect us because we already know our NAR fees is gonna probably go up to about $160 to $180 to offset that 418 million. It's coming from somewhere. It's coming out of our pockets as realtors. Period. Right. So in that retrospect, okay, we stop it right here. If we have to do an increase, we have a reason, and we can always tell our members, hey, we settled it early, so it wouldn't go off into the billions. It is going to be a little extra bump over the next 4 years. This is what the new number is going to be. So that's why you get the agents thinking about creating their own quote unquote service or membership, whatever. As far as the effect on us as agents individually, they're going to. All our documentation and all our procedures are fluid. It constantly changes. We've had 3 or 4 seller disclosures. We've had during my time as being a realtor, we've had three 1-to-4 contracts come through, right? And I expect that to change as things continue to go on. So if you first and foremost, you got to stop the bleeding, save some money, go back in, redo all our documents. So now they're going to redo our contracts. They're going to redo the ABA and the buyer's rep agreement. That's probably going to get merged now to explain what that number looks like. That makes sense to do so. Also, they're going to come back in and they're going to have to retrain everybody as far as how to talk about compensation with different buyers. Next thing, legislation is going to come towards the loaners. If the buying market drastically decrease like what everybody thinks it's going to do, eventually the government's going to step in and find some more money to offset that cost.
Right. Appreciate that. Shameless plug. That's why I love Frenchies, man. He ain't barked the whole time, man. You know what I'm saying? Frenchies don't bark, man. So I love
How do they
these
communicate
dogs,
if they don't bark?
sign language. Nah, man, they make facial expressions, stuff like that, but they don't bark at all, man.
They make facial expressions to each other so they can just
they communicate non-verbally. You know, so that's what I love about it. But let me chime my 2 cents in before we go to the second question, man. I think y'all hit it on the head as far as the stop the bleed. I think they had to do something. I think whoever their lawyers are, I think they did a bad job as far as I think the premise is flawed. I think what they did in reaction to it is flawed. I think this is stupid. It should be un-American to, if I negotiate for something and I choose to, and we talked about this before, I choose to do whatever I want. If I want to distribute half of it to the buyer's agent, I should be able to do that because I negotiated up front. So how can you turn back around and we got to sign a contract and say, I think I paid too much? You agree to it, and I'm gonna stand on that. That's dumb, and it's still this judgment or the way you're trying to go about it by rectifying it or changing the situation doesn't address the situation, because as a buyer's agent, I still could go in there and negotiate on the back end how much as a seller you're going to pay. It's still negotiating. Instead of up front, you negotiate in the back end. So all you did was add work to everybody, which is fine. I'm all about the work, I'm all about, shifting everybody out, but I think the way they did it, it doesn't solve the issue of what they were trying to solve. And it really is not an issue. That's my premise to it, and just to answer some of the other questions as far as to get creative and stuff like that. I think it's going to be bad for the buyers, especially low income buyers, because they can't afford it. So we're gonna have to get creative. That's why I'm looking at joining action and stuff like that, to where we could get seller concessions, or I could make my money out the back end of being the buyer's agent and the loan officer. So we're gonna have to. I think you're gonna have to get creative to where we're gonna have to be able to finance some of those fees or put it in the loan. But either way, they're gonna pay it. Or you're gonna get to where I think the natural reaction, and correct me if I'm wrong, people are cheap. You got certain people who pay for what they want. The majority won't. Let's be honest. So they're gonna try to get it as cheap as possible. So you're gonna emerge the flat fee people, the concierge people, the people that just wanna the bare minimalists, and you're gonna get what you pay for. You're gonna get railroaded. You're gonna, hey, all right, I do a fat fee $1,000. How can you make profit on $1,000 when you got to pay tax on it and all that? So all I'm gonna do is that you pretty much got a door open.
Man, I heard talks about like even doing like lawyers do and charge a retainer.
Right, retainer fee and stuff. They're gonna get market for that. Because think about how the human psyche works. Okay, they're only gonna hear that I gotta pay for it. In their mind, it was free, even though it's all right. Representation was free, even though it wasn't, because you negotiated it. But in their mind, it's like a credit card. A lot of people, when they pay for stuff on a credit card, that's free. In their mind, I'll pay for it on terms. That's free because they ain't coming out my cash. So, but people think like this. Think about it. This is the American psyche. Mm-hmm. So what they're going to do is they're going to try to get that as low as possible. Am I right or wrong? And so you're going to have a group of people that's going to cater to that psychology. So they're going to off top 1%. Pressing the door open and here to serve you.
Man, I'm gonna tell you my theory real quick, because the loophole is you can have a commission displayed as long as it's not on MLS.
Right.
So like Barry pointed out, like Zillow, Realtor.com, like these aren't MLS.
Sites.
I was like, what if they're behind this too? Like, because at one point Zillow was tapped in straight with our MLS, Houston Association of Realtors, but now they had to get broker licenses and everything, going through loopholes and jumping through hoops to get access now. So it's not the same like it was a couple of years ago. But now, since they're not an MLS, you could technically post that commission on Zillow.
Bingo.
Right.
But you would have to pay Zillow to post that there.
Possibly.
Yeah, I mean, people have accounts.
Is it for
Right.
me? I don't see it being worth me posting it to Zillow just for the everyday consumer to see it. As agents, I don't use Zillow. I know my people.
Yeah, agents don't usually go to Zillow.
We don't in Texas. Texas is a non-disclosure state, so we don't really use Zillow. But if an agent needs to find out how much they're getting paid and it's documented on Zillow, that saves a whole time of calling that agent, getting the ABB, because it's documented right there. That is your proof.
So I play devil's advocate for a second. I'm Zillow, and I know they're doing this. Oh, okay, great. Okay, in order to access this information or to put this information on the listing that you already have, it's going to be a $39.99 fee every month.
Right. So would you rather pay $39.99 or call the agent, wait for that agent to contact you back to get that commission amount, get an ABB signed by their broker and yours, and then show a house?
That as being Zillow, I don't care. I'm getting paid $40 per agent.
No. As the agent. Not as Zillow, as an agent. What would you rather do?
As an agent, I'd rather just go talk to them because I don't want to pay the $40.
Really?
Yeah.
You crazy?
Okay.
You know, yeah, you know.
Every
Don't say that now until you
Come on
call like 10
But
people
every
every
house
day.
you
Come on now.
you got to get an ABB for
Hold on.
every house.
Fung
You
has
got
no idea
5
who I am and
listings.
how I operate. I operate on a flat fee basis, period. I pay agents a flat fee regardless. So this world for me is normal. Y'all know that.
Right.
This world
You
for me is
ain't
very normal.
calling and get no ABB for every house that you show right now.
For every for
And then,
every
like
house, hold on. Let's if you're gonna preface it to me, if it's one of my investors, it's up front. Hey, if they don't pay a commission, you paying me $5,000 up front. You okay with that? Yeah. All right, let's go. I don't care if they offer me a commission when I talk to them. Y'all offering a commission on this one? No. All right, cool. Yes. Okay. What is it? Okay, great. It doesn't matter to me because I already have my amount of money that I know I'm gonna make regardless.
right.
But the fact of going to Zillow to do that, I don't see there's a benefit there. I don't
That's
see.
a time saver, dog.
I don't see that. How
Like,
many-
now, I mean, you got investors. Investors is like your.
It's a total different animal. So
Yeah, it's a
Right,
totally different
totally
one.
different.
Totally
So
different
traditional
animal, 100%.
buyers, if you got a
Traditional buyer.
traditional buyer, and they want to look at 5 houses in this certain area, and they got
Look how
5
humble
different
looking at me,
listing
man. What you
agents.
talking about?
That's 5 different phone calls, 5 different people you got to wait to call you back, 5 different ABBs that you got to wait for their broker and your broker to sign, and then go show the house. It's gone by then, player.
Right.
It's a
Man, humble has something to say, man. He said, man, what your dog problem is, man? You know, what I mean?
Your dog problem is he want to say something, can't. I don't. Vocals got messed up somewhere.
You know, all that noise, man. He said, pipe down. You know, but
I mean, I really think that MLS with NAR is gonna be gone, and it's gonna be eventually gone. It's gonna be a nationwide MLS.
right. Well,
I like that. I like that idea. That'd be nice. I'll pay extra for a nationwide.
Because understand, the same people that's running Zillow are the same people that put all these travel agents out of business with Expedia and Priceline. These are the same people.
Right.
Or we could go to a simple fact like they do in Arizona. Arizona is a set commission base.
Is it?
No matter what, yeah, it's 5% no matter what, and everybody, it's just across the board.
Right.
No less.
The problem is that the national settlement was they don't want you to, they're trying to tell you what you could do with your 5%. That's the issue.
Well,
That's the issue.
in that situation, that agent messed that up. That agent was supposed to talk to them and tell them what was what, right? At the end of the day, the buck starts and stops with us. If we're not talking effectively to the buyer or seller, that's with us. And so we brought that lawsuit on ourselves.
The whole thing was wires crossed. You know, what is unconstitutional? It's unconstitutional for you to sign a contract and then tell me later on you're paying too much. You agreed to it, so they got their wire crossed. The whole thing was flawed.
The agent did not explain it to them well enough for them to understand.
But we see this at every closing. Ain't nobody reading these documents.
Right.
But I disagree with that because as a seller, you always want to know how much your bottom line is.
Yeah.
You know, you
do a net, and we do a net sheet. I do a net sheet for my sellers.
Exactly. Every seller knows, all right, how much I got to put it at. That's what your job is as a listing agent. How much I got to put it at for me to net this. And they understand that, you know, this is part of the commission. And how I choose to spend that commission, whether it's marketing, you know, commission sharing, whatever, that's what I need to do to get your house sold. And you can either say yay or nay. Nobody's putting a gun to your head. So the whole thing was flawed from the get-go. So it's a flaw on top of a flaw. So let's get to the second question. I know we're running out of time.
And I got a comment on my Facebook that I'm gonna read after this.
Read it.
So how will the future look for buyers agents? So let's go ahead and open that up, and you can put that in there as well. So CJ, you up? How will the future look for? So going to 2024 on.
And if you're a professional, nothing's changing. You just got a little more work to do.
There you go.
That's it. Ain't nothing changing.
Right.
If you're on the commercial side, you be doing this anyway.
I think you overly optimistic, but I say my you know that.
Hey, I
say my
said,
comments to let-
I said if you're a professional. I
Right,
said it
right.
ain't.
No. I'm gonna tell you why. But Fung, go ahead.
Well, I mean, I think there will be some change, whether but we all know when there's change, there are opportunities that make money, and
Right.
there are people who don't know how to leverage that opportunity. I kind of have to agree with Brandon there that we can't say that, oh, nothing will happen, nothing will change. There is something coming, and it does affect a lot of people, but whether it affect negatively or positively, it really depends on your skill set, your goals, and your professionalism. And I think you should have to leverage that to grow, no matter what. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Barry, what you got?
Yeah, I think it'll. I mean, it will definitely put. Well, like you say, the professionals, they're gonna have to just make sure they be on there. They dot their I's and cross their T's. But I also think it's going to be more. A lot of more of them are going to go to the listing side.
Bingo,
I think they'll. Look, Hyman shaking his head. I think some will go to the listing side of it.
You made them leave.
Not that easy to switch side, because everybody wants to switch side a long time ago.
Yeah.
Before that.
I think like for buyers that, like I say, those first time buyers and the low budget ones, those buyer agents that are in that niche, I think it's going to affect them a little bit more than maybe just a seasoned buyer's agent. Yeah, because I mean, they already, and it was a question I was going to ask my mortgage people. I think you kind of said it a little bit. Is this going to change mortgages now, because those people that can't get that money, are they going to start putting it into the loan? But that's for a different day.
Yeah, nothing as of right now that I've heard, but possibly maybe in the future, because lenders investors are always trying to get creative to bring more business. So I'm pretty sure if it becomes predominant in the market, I'm pretty sure they're going to start having products that's going to suit that.
Huh?
Interest for 30 years on the
and then is that going to take us back to 2008?
Right. I left, like I said, besides Fung is probably one of the smartest besides myself that I know as far as mortgage brokers.
Besides myself. I'll count that, right?
Nah, but I'll let you go ahead, go back. What would you say to that, Fung, as far as let's go down that rabbit hole. Let's say it does become rampant. I'm pretty sure. What would you say you that lenders are going to adapt?
Did he freeze?
Fung, can you?
Oh, he can
freeze.
Oh no, I see him moving. Did
you
listen? Did he hear you?
I don't know, maybe internet froze. So
I'll
go in. Hyman, will you?
Hyman left.
Okay. Well, let me go ahead and try my 2 cents in real quick. I think Barry hit on the head. Is this going to be people going to try to get in a different line? All right, now I'm gonna be a listening agent. So now that side will get flooded, and then I think the people that stay in the buying lane, I think you're gonna have the bottom feeders, and you're gonna have a bunch of bottom feeders. People are automatically gonna drop the pants. Boom. All right, that's what you want. Here you go. You want here you go. $1,000, $2,000. I'll show it to you. And some people, that is their business model, as opposed to building up skills. Let's go ahead for the least resistance. $2,000, and you're gonna get what you pay for. You're not gonna get prices reduced. You're not gonna get fair market value. You're not gonna get anything. You're not gonna get flexibility. You're not gonna get anything. So you're gonna get what you pay for. But you know, people are so cheap. They'd rather think about it. Why is McDonald's still in business? Why is McDonald's still in business? Why is Church's still in business when you got Popeyes right across the street? Why is Church's still there? Because it's cheaper.
Get a 12 piece for $3.
You get a 12 piece $3. You always. Why is Reggie still selling when you got Loud out here? You always gonna have an alternative, man. You know, it just is what it is. You know, so you can't underestimate the power of cheapness, of people being cheap.
Like we say, you give
I mean,
listen, man.
And people going to capitalize on people being cheap. Fun, can you hear us now? Can you hear it? Fun.
Yeah, I'm back now.
Okay, cool. I had two questions for you. Barry had made a point. He's like, what do you see as far as lenders adapting to the climate? Do you think lenders are start making it able to finance the buyer's fee? You see that?
I mean, before the housing market crash, that kind of happened. I don't think that will go back to that route. But I think the way it's set up right now already, that's already helped us with the seller concessions, as in, as long as the sellers say, okay, I'm willing to pay the buying agent, that's not a seller concession. We don't have to roll that into the loan amount, because sure, we just cannot display about the percentage anymore, and we have to negotiate. But rolling that closing cost in, because if that ever happened, then that we're gonna always run into the appraisal issue, right? Yeah. Then not gonna be enough equity in any house to roll that into the loan amount. And you know for sure, no lender right now, big banks or direct lenders, private lenders, willing to roll the cost of commissions, or even the regular cost right now cannot be rolled into the loan amount.
So let me see if I get you straight. You think they'll make a play as far as seller concession what comes off, which is the same thing anyway. It's just coming off your bottom line. You just kicking money around. That's the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think the way it's set up right now is
different colors.
It's already makes sense. It's just now we just have to talk about it and discuss about it.
Right.
There's no point of rolling into the loan amount, because the moment we start rolling one kind of cost into the loan amount, it opened to the Pandora box. Like, okay, why can't we roll this and cannot roll that?
Yeah,
right.
It become a lawsuit after lawsuit. I don't think they want to go that route. And
so you say no.
Yeah,
I think they're gonna be something flexible. Hear me out.
Okay.
Not in the broker channel, but in the correspondence channel. Where it's baked into your rate, and you don't know anything about it.
Yeah, but that's run into fair housing equality too, you know.
You know,
man, I got a comment on my Facebook, and
go ahead.
My guy. Say what?
Yeah, go ahead. But no, hold on. Let me address funds, so not to leave that out there. So you got a choice. You can pay me out of pocket, or I can roll it in for a higher rate.
I don't know, man. I don't think
that's great.
Sure, theoretically, it might be, but
we're talking theoretically.
But you know, right now, if you look at lender credit, cannot be used to pay for the loan officer compensation already.
Right.
Well, it can only be used to pay for other, like appraisals and all that small fees, right?
Right.
If that's already the rule, why I don't think anyone would always say, well, you know, don't worry about the loan officer. Now that allow to roll the fees or roll the commission of the buy agent into the loan amount. Right. And that's the big piece. And then, you know, what's the limit? What if some buy agents decide, like, well, I'm gonna charge 5% for this client because I've been working for them for 5 years, and you know, you never know. the amount of time, the effort you put in, and then now because you set the tone, and now the lender say, well, don't worry, you can roll whatever the amount of buying agent commission into this, and then the buying agent come back and say, hey, dude, you're my partner, right? Rolling 5%. It's opened a lot of
Pandora's box.
rabbit holes, man.
That get us back to 2008, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
Right.
and then no amount of equity.
Yeah,
So
yeah, if
now
you
we're
put it
gonna have
that way, because a lot of people be
situation.
partnering up. They'll put finance, they'll refinance that thing, and then you know what I'm saying, that
Yeah.
he refinance, kick that down the curve. Now we talking funny money. Everything,
For sure.
you know. So, but that's what. Hey, but this is one thing that's for sure, you know, power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. So no matter how you slice it, there's gonna be a way to get around it, and people gonna find a way to get around this thing. You know. So it doesn't matter where we want to go with it. Hey, I'm gonna let Hyman chime in on this before we go to your comment.
Yeah.
And then we got the last question. We'll be out.
As far as an agent goes with this new changes, it just requires us to get better. It requires us to communicate a lot better. You know what I mean? And that's our biggest problem. We don't communicate well enough with each other as fellow colleagues and with the consumer, right? If we communicated better as a group of realtors, we wouldn't be in this situation that we're in.
Nope.
Right.
We wouldn't be here. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of documents already dictate and say all those things. We're not communicating it effectively to the buyers and sellers that we're representing. We're not communicating it effectively to the consumer who's asking us questions about how do I pay you? How do I pay you?
People
We've all
don't
had
worry
that
about it.
question asked. Yeah. See what I'm saying? That right there, don't worry about it. Right.
Yeah.
And then we're on the selling side. When you go talk to the sellers themselves, they feel some type of way when they hired you to sell their house, and you tell them, "Well, I'm going to take 3% of this and give it to the buyer's agent," because it's on our listing agreement. It says, "Do you want to actively show your house on the MLS?"
Yep.
And when you actively show it on the MLS, it tells you how much that you have to put. It gives you every category that's on the MLS. But we're not effectively, again, communicating that to the seller to give them that decision or that option of what they want to do. We are so worried about the 6%. Hey, what would you like to sell? What would you like to offer? You know, we're trying to help you sell your house. If you want to do 5%, all right, cool. That's fine. You feel comfortable with that? Barry said, I do a net sheet. When you do a net sheet, here's a net sheet at 5%, net sheet at 6%, here's a net sheet at 4%. Which one do you feel? And you kind of explain what the difference is. How could it positively and negatively affect you selling your own on the listing side? If we were doing that, we would never get sued.
Right. Well, we so worried about losing the client, losing the deal, you know, because people got too many choices. So I think the natural purge should happen. I think all of the garbage agents should get out of the business. Then we got professionals, and then people could professionally choose, the best of the best from there. But I know that's blissful thinking. What's going to happen is the bottom feed is going to continue to feed on the bottom. That's what's going to happen.
Say, man, all this garbage talk is ridiculous, dog. That's why they created recycling. You know what I'm saying?
You know that's a fact.
Recycle and get done better. You come out like this. You start like this, but you come out like that after training and energy and experience. You become better.
But that's not the human nature. Why are there 50,000 agents just in Houston alone, and 13% of all of the business is done by all of the business is done by 13% of the agents. Most of the agents, over 80%, ain't doing the damn thing.
Right. They only had like one deal last year.
We gotta teach them better. We just gotta teach them better, man.
Well, a lot of those agent, when they close deal, they put it under the team leader name or the broker name sometimes. So like you have agent how they close a lot of deal, but it's not just for the name because of the agreement they have with that. So sometimes the 13% might be a little bit skewed because of that as well. Like the team out there put everything under what his name, Jimmy Franklin. I mean, but he's not the one that
got a game.
anything like that. But he's.
So
but hey, that's the way that
the team award for the month.
So real quick,
that's across industries. Most of the top performers carry the industry. That's in every profession.
But man, I'm gonna go to this comment.
Yeah, go ahead.
Paul Perez was saying, in the event that you are a listing agent and you decide to work with a seller that does not want to pay a buyer's agent, and you got a hot listing, and you get 30 buyers that want to see that house, you got to go open that door 30 times. Not guaranteeing an offer. Then once they want to submit an offer, who fills out the paperwork?
You as a listing agent, you become an intermediary at that point for Paul.
Right.
So
but you start taking into account, like, all right, there's going to be travel on my part, more paperwork on my part, if you decide to work with a seller and don't want to pay an agent.
Well, the thing about that, great question, Paul. The thing about that, when you are a realtor and you are the listing agent, you always check that box to where you appoint yourself as an intermediary, which means that you can let anyone in your brokerage actually buy your home. If it's only just you go out and you sell it and you get the whole whatever that you guys agree to, you get all of it. You know what I mean? It's for some reason there's a stigmatism for listing agents say they don't do anything other than just negotiate the deal and put the house on the market. True enough, in some situations because the buyers, quote unquote, buyer's agent goes shows it and do their thing. But it's okay if everybody across the board has to do more, we all gotta just do more.
Yeah, that's what it's gonna happen. That's what's happening.
You know what
But,
I mean?
yeah,
But
just
in that
thinking about
situation
from a
that you
standpoint
just said, CJ, in that situation you said, well, if you get a buyer that has an agent, you're not doing intermediary now, but you got to let him know that, hey, so when he does call you and you pick up the phone, yeah, well, my seller, he ain't paying.
He ain't paying the buyer's agent.
He ain't paying the buyer's agent.
So
what would you like to do?
So now those 30 then went down to 10 or 5.
Well, no, I disagree.
that days on market just went from 35 days.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
80.
I disagree. Correct me if I'm wrong. What you just said is just like the listing price. That's negotiable. So just because you said that don't mean I stop.
Yeah, that is very true.
Oh, I'm not saying that throws. I mean, that's gonna
from the listing broker.
Right. So that don't mean I can't put an offer in. So now I'm gonna say, well, no, I want 3%. We set the offer on this. I'm gonna get 3%, and this what we want to come in at. So now you got to tell me yes or no.
And at that point, that's a great suggestion, B. At that point, the listing agent's responsibility is to say, okay, here's the offer we have on the table. They're willing to offer X, but you got to be willing to pay the 3% commission. How do you feel about that?
Right.
And you let them make that decision. And and no seller is gonna turn down a reasonable offer. I think everybody here knows that.
Yeah.
Am I not mistaken? No seller's not gonna
and you
turn
do
down a
and you do
reasonable
that
offer.
net sheet to let him know what he's gonna make.
Most sellers will not turn down a reasonable offer. Correct.
Say most.
Most. True. That's prefaced with most. So it's not unreasonable that just because you hear that, it's just up to that agent on the other side to say, if you got enough gumption about yourself, you come on and make it happen.
Yep.
Right. Last question. How do you creatively adapt to the new commission structure? So what's some of the ways we can get creative, going forward? Let me preface it because I know y'all gonna say nothing ain't gonna change. Let's put some context on it. Let's say that, let's go down my wormhole. Let's go down my rabbit hole and say that here come the bottom feeders. Now you got the concierge services. You got the minimalists. That's just flooding the game. That's flat fees. So how do you get creative, and how do you get creative?
Creative as what? The listing agent or the buyer's agent?
As far as this period, how do you make money? Because most people are gonna be both. Let's keep it all the way 100.
Yep.
So you're not gonna turn down a buyer's agent because I'm technically a listing agent. You're not gonna turn down a buyer.
Nope, you're not.
Well, I mean, if you're a listing agent, I don't care if he's a flat fee.
Right.
Why would I care if that buyer's agent is flat fee for the buyer?
Now, how you going to compete when you get a buyer now? And
that's why I'm asking what side were you on. So if you're talking about a buyer,
well, you're agent, like Hyman said. So if you get a buyer now and you got all these, the industry's flooded now with these flat fee people. How do we get creative now to make money?
I mean, I think it boils down to like Hyman and we were talking about before, about communication and showing your value. And like in the listing agreement, the rep agreement, there's a blank line. may not necessarily have to be a percentage. Like it was talks about, even like I was saying earlier about a retainer fee. Shoot, lawyers charge you every time they send an email.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
do we want to go there? Like, do we want to get that crazy with it?
Right.
Yeah, showing your
But
value.
It's not about, you know, lowering your value. It's about proving your value.
And showing them, okay, this flat fee is doing A, B, but look, I'm doing A, B, C, D, and E.
Right.
Right. So
You know?
I mean, I even heard people talk about, hey, I'm gonna offer different packages.
Yep.
For this amount, you get this.
There's something to do that right now. Yeah.
And
So,
it works.
yep. There is no one way to do it. Like before this happened, you could have been already doing this.
Yeah.
Right. Haven't been doing this.
Yeah.
So tell us what that looks like. How do your A, B, and C package? So you got
All right,
the silver,
so-
the gold, and the platinum package. How that look? How does that look?
Okay, so if you're a rookie agent coming into the industry and you're with the KW 70-30 split, you first have to know how much it costs for you to live. If it costs you $3,000 to live, right? That's what it costs you. But you know you still got to give KW 30% of whatever you get. So when you meet the buyer who's an FHA barely making it across the stage, across closing, you have to tell them, like, look, if you want me to help you, this is what it's going to cost. How are you going to come up with X amount of dollars? Because if the sellers don't pay me, I still want to help you. You need to tell me, how are you going to come up with X amount of dollars? You can set up a payment plan with them. Hey, look, when we get started, once I get you pre-approved, it's going to cost you $300. You go ahead and Zelle that on in. Once you got your pre-approved to go start looking at the houses, you need to Zelle me through $500 more. And you say this $300 is to help you get.
I don't know, bro. How they gonna do the Zelle? Don't the Zelle got to go to the brokerage?
Yeah.
Well, he is the broker.
Yeah. If it's with KW.
No, I mean he's saying a new agent.
A new agent with KW. KW has to go and talk to them and say, hey, look, this is my fee structure. This is what I'm going to charge at every quote unquote pinpoint of the transaction. You know, you got your pre-approval stage, you got your showing stage, you got your contract stage, right? Then you have your inspection and so forth and so on. Everything that we have to do, that there's a pinpoint that something is being done by us, and you charge a fee at every section that goes out, so it equates to what your commission will be. That's it.
Hey, but if it's an FHA just getting started buyer,
yeah, they ain't got
it. If they don't have it, if they don't have it, here's what I do.
Yeah, just enough for the earners' money.
Right. If they don't have it, here's what I do.
They think it's like a call out.
Yeah, here's what I do. I say, hey, B, I call Barry. Hey, Barry, man, I got a rookie. I got an FHA buyer. I understand that your people not doing anything. How do you feel about sending me $1,000 and I take it from there? You know what I'm saying? At some point, you want to get paid, but you're just doing less for them, but you still want to get paid. Barry said, "Well, man, all right, yeah, I can do that. Let me. You bring me a 100% off. I can get you squared away. You still can do that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
They don't have to pay it, but you're willing to say, well, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna show the house. I'm gonna get it through inspections, and then that's it. Once you limit what you're doing and you know what you're doing, and you tell them that, all right, I'm gonna do this and this, and we're gonna get you closed, and that's it. Take a phone call, send a couple
texts. Communicate. You got to communicate.
100%. You gotta just say what you're gonna do.
That's what it, because a lot of people, they want the royal treatment. They want to call you on Sunday night, and I wish we could do this as loan officers. I mean, Fung, I know you. This is half the time I get into it with people is the people that don't respect my time. CJ know what I'm talking about, you know. So people that call you Saturday night, you know, Sunday, and I tell, hey, hey, I can't talk to you every day, right? You know, about the same thing. You know what I mean? So you got those people that want to suck up all your time and they're not spending more. You know, they want you to hand. All right, so what does A mean? You know, what does D mean? D-T-H-E? What does that mean?
See, how I thought it was going to come with I was thinking a different kind of pay kind of thing, tier, like you were saying, like the diamond and all that. Because I've seen one where it said the buyer was to find the houses. The buyer would send it to the agent and say, I want to see these houses, and the
Right.
agent sets up the appointment and goes there. That is bronze.
Land.
Yeah.
The land package.
And then okay, you want me to do the offer. You want me to do the paperwork. That's the silver.
Right.
But
You
that's
know,
still
you
at
want-
every point of the transaction, though, Barry. So
But,
at this point, you charge a small fee because if they can't,
No,
afford
I
to
like
but
pay-
you're not charging it at that point. You're saying what that fee is for all of this.
Nah,
Instead of saying, okay,
here you're gonna pay, here you're gonna pay, here you're gonna pay, and it's gonna equal out to the big number that
Yeah.
I told you there's gonna be.
so yours is like
break it up.
yours is more spread out.
Hey,
I'm gonna spread it out every time you
Hey,
get paid.
have
I
it
get
set them
paid.
up in installments.
Yeah,
Yeah,
instead of
Every
yeah.
time
an
they get
installment.
paid,
A la
I get
carte.
paid. You know what
A
I'm
la
saying?
carte. You want the onions with it? The onions gonna cost you extra 65 cents.
Yeah,
Well, that
you
might
want
run
to
into ETI issue if you get them into that installment plan, man.
Right.
He said be creative. So hey,
You got to
and
you got to
if
check
they
their
miss a
credit,
payment-
Hyman. Hyman, you got to check their credit.
Here's what I do. If they miss a payment, if you miss a payment, everything stops. I keep all your money that you've given me up thus far.
Right.
So
It's
if you start out and you give me 500, perfect. I made 500 just for what? Helping you talk to the lender? Because the lender's
Hey,
gonna run your credit.
Hey,
Helping
having,
you
but
pay.
now, especially if you got a big brokerage, that accounting department is working overtime,
Hey, ain't got nothing to do
collecting these,
He's saying ain't nothing to do with that.
with that. Ain't got nothing to do with that.
collecting
$5.
them disbursements.
Yeah.
Ain't got nothing to do with that, man.
They might not even go for it.
Right.
True.
If
That's
you
true.
had-
That is true.
If you had a big brokerage, if you had KW, that would, you know what I mean. My thing is this. Let me say this, and I'll open it up to the rest of y'all. That way I could just listen. You know, until we wrap it up. I think what me and Fung and I are doing is the future. I think Arlo or Relo is the future. That way you're more flexible. You know, because I have more flexibility as the loan officer. And the buyer's agent, you know, hey, listen, why hire a buyer's agent when I'm already here? Or you can pay me a flat fee. I can get creative. You know, I could. You already know what house you want. Why would you get a buyer's agent? I can negotiate the deal. Just pay me a flat fee. So I'm gonna undercut some of those bottom feeders though too.
You doing the bottom feeder move.
You want the bottom feeder at that point.
I mean, but sometimes you gotta, in order to beat them, you gotta join them. You know, so it just depends on the client. You know, so it just depends on how much, like you said, how much work I'm doing. All right, you already have the house. I got you pre-qualified. Y'all came to me first. And that happens a lot of times. They already know what house they want. They already know what's set. All you got to do is write the offer. You know, so all right, it's based on how much work am I doing. So all right, you have no clue. You going to a new area. I gotta be back and forth. It's gonna be a few months. All right, I need my whole 3%. But I'm gonna go ahead and communicate. Communicate it with you that, hey, here goes the rep agreement. Here goes I'm gonna sign you up for a year. You know, 3% of the seller don't pay me. You're in charge of it. So, you know, I could do. I even told CJ I'm thinking about doing 250 up front. This as like an earnest money thing. Like, just make sure you're serious. You get that back at close.
That is
You
true.
know.
That is very true.
Yeah,
Very,
you ain't
that's
gonna
not
never do it. Like
that's
that's
not
already
unrealistic.
being done.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
very
so
true.
250 up front, man. Look, man, you know, make sure you're serious. You know, so but I could always as well, if they have difficulty, communicate with that client, because me as a branch manager, if I go with the Access model, all right, I could all right, if I could get to a 1.5 here, you could that's within your budget, 1.5, I can make my money on the back end.
That boy bottom feed over here, man.
You know what I'm saying?
Fun, go and tell them now, man, they ain't gonna work.
Well, I mean, so as a loan officer, we already have run into a situation where like they come to us, we get them pre-approved. Sometimes we show them what to do to get qualified, and then by the time they go under contract, they start shopping us, and they're like, "By the way, thanks for everything, but now I'm going with someone that I can get cheaper, right?" And they might not know if cheaper until down the road. So if we add on that buying agents, and I mean, imagine you don't know the work, you prep everything, and the next thing you know, the listing agent might say, "Well, you know, if you just go with my lender, I will give you some extra, and then what?"
Right. But I think that eliminates a lot of that, because now
True.
I didn't sign them as a buyer's rep, so I'm representing them for a year. They can't go anywhere. So I'm
You
already
know
a buyer's agent.
No,
That's just a
You,
piece of
you
paper.
can't.
no,
No,
they
no,
You know that
can't.
buy agent.
You can get fired.
Like, everybody can come say, "Look, I want to terminate that buy agent agreement."
Right. Well,
Yeah,
most
that's simple.
clients are not gonna once they sign that. Let's get all the way real. How often
All the
does
way
that
real.
happen? I've been doing this almost 8 years, and I've only seen that twice.
On the loan side. On the
No,
real
no,
estate
no,
side, it
no,
happens
no,
all the
no,
time.
no. I'm talking as a buyer. I've only seen a buyer's agent get fired twice.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, yes, but you gotta remember the buyer agent agreement is not like they can terminate it for no reason, right? You got you as a realtor, you know, sure it's there to protect you to do all these liabilities for a cover, CYA kind of thing, but that's not a guarantee. Like, I mean, who would, even if let's say we follow the agreement by the T to the T, and they go with someone else, and then nobody gonna go after them and sue just to get a commission from one. That's bad taste in the brand, right? That's why that buy agreement really have no
weight.
I disagree. I think it's all.
Tell them,
just
CJ.
who's procuring calls if you make it to the closing table.
Yeah,
That's
you can
about
still
it.
got procuring calls. Yeah.
That's if
Well,
you make it to the table.
Because I had my first deal that that particular buyer's agent wouldn't let them out of the contract, and it was with Keller Williams, and they had to wait till the contract expired. They wouldn't let them out.
Yeah, some buyers are not very easy to be strong arm into things, right? In the end,
Right.
Yeah.
you meet all kind of different buyers, but some buyers, I mean, in the end, it's all about who is willing to push the issue and might end up damaging their reputations in the long
Right.
run.
Well, I think it's like this. I think the buyer's rep is like a fence. Even though I could climb that fence or I could go inside of that fence, it's still a fence, it's still an obstacle that's going to deter people from going that route. So I'm running. I see a fence. All right, I'm gonna turn. My inclination is to turn first as opposed to climb that fence. So it's just one of those things that I'm putting that fence up there, to be an extra layer. Not saying it's impenetrable, but it's there. That coupled with, all right, a deposit. Earnest money, like, all right, 250, 300. What can you afford? You get that back at closing. Or it comes out of my commission. That deters you from going somewhere else. And me getting duped out all the effort that I put into it.
All the time and everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Theoretically, yes, but in the end, how often can you keep chasing people because of that? And then you have another client to tend to as well. But I mean, I agree with you to an extent. There's a reason why the buy agreements are there, and we should all leverage it and make sure people understand and follow it. But in the end of the day, even in the buy agreement, there's a clause saying, if they're not happy with your service, they can terminate it without any.
Right.
Yeah.
They got to go through a couple of hoops. This this is in my book as well. Just like with it's chapter 4 in the book. Just like with Discount Tires. Discount Tires put all their packages on there and then tell you the price. And then it's $39.99.99, including the warranty and all that. Boom. Now it's up to you to tell them why you don't want the warranty. So they're gonna already put it on there. So, and most people don't want to do that. They're like, all right, how much is this? All right, cool. So they get by default 80 to 90% success rate because they automatically assume the sale. So now I'm putting it on that buyer. How this relates to the buyer's agreement. Now you gotta the burden is on you. You gotta try to get out this contract. And most people don't want that smoke. They'll just go ahead along with it because it's an obstacle.
I mean, there's a different, right? One is a couple $100. One is $10,000 sometimes,
Right, but and then you got to couple that with they got to be dissatisfied with my service, which won't happen.
Of course.
Right. So you got dissatisfaction stuff. Now it stops them from just willy-nilly.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have anything in place, they can just willy-nilly. All right, well, shit, I ain't like, Susan's voice is sweeter than Brandon, so all right, let me go ahead with Susan because she might be offering the same thing. But now if I got all this in place, they're gonna think twice. You see what I'm saying? So you gotta, just like we said earlier, it's a communication. We gotta protect ourselves And that's the way I think it's gonna be created. That's how I'm probably gonna do my business. Like as far as I think reloads and offering value, on both sides. Hey, you don't have to deal with anybody else. You're already comfortable with me. Boom, let's go ahead and maximize that relationship and rock like that. And that's another thing. I think once you already got the rapport as a loan officer, so it just depends. If they're a transactional customer and they're just trying to shop the rate, you probably won't get them as a buyer's agent. They're just shopping your rate. They probably already come to you as a buyer's agent. I'm talking about for this one customer that they like you and they come to you and they want you to do everything. Most likely there's a trust there, a rapport.
Right. No, that's
different type of thing. Those transactional customers, you're not gonna get. They shopping you, so they don't give a damn about you.
For sure.
And you can tell who's all that. They, hey, what's your rate? They don't even know your name. What's your rate? What's the, they it all top. From the get-go that they're transactional customers. They're not interested. They're interested in saving money as opposed to relationship currency. So those type of people, you might not get, hey, you got where you can get skinny, do the transaction, you're going to get what you can get. But there's those people that want you to be in their life after the transaction. And those type of people that you got to, other ways, long story short, you got to get more uncookie cutter. You got to customize each customer's experience.
I agree.
I think there's no cookie cutter where you got to be flexible. I think so. With that being said, anything else as far as creative, I think you got to be adaptable to that client. So those type of clients, I got a client right now that's probably going to want me to be on both sides. And that's when you maximize. You're going to spend a lot of time, but you're going to make a lot more money because you're doing a lot more.
Yep, be like water.
It is what it is. It is what it is. Those customers that just want you to get the good rate, all right, boom. Get a good rate, I'm gonna kick you to my processor. There you go. Boom, here goes the rate. I might have to get skinny to do it, and you're not even gonna know. You're not even gonna talk to me most of the time. You're gonna talk to my processor, and we're gonna get you to the finish line. And I'll send you out an email. Thanks. So
For sure.
you got those. Anybody else want to chime in before we get out of here?
In this situation, man, when you believe, we as agents also have to learn how to make better decisions about people, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you can't decide based on a few conversations whether or not that person can work with you, can afford to work with you, you just know, like, hey, look, based on what I've seen so far, you may not have the money, you may have to save up some more money. I can help you with a couple of calls here and there. But don't take the time out to do all the documentation, knowing that they can't afford you, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
We all know attorneys that's expensive. We all know some cheap ones, right? We just go with whatever our pocketbooks can handle, and that's okay.
Right. That's another thing I want to say. You can't get everybody. Everybody's not gonna be your cup of tea, and I think the ones that are your cup of tea maximize that relationship.
That's very true.
Yep.
Right.
Very, very true.
Anything else y'all want to chime in? Any last thoughts on this? Anything? All right, man. We're gonna see y'all next week, man. Fun again. I appreciate you coming on.
Hey,
Again,
happy to be here.
subscribe.
Appreciate you, bro. Good to see you, man.